It's Friday, everybody. Welcome into the Faith Plus One show. I am your host, and it's the last day of the week, which means our last scheduled episode of the week. And there's a couple of things I want to talk about. Number one, this is now day 10 of the government shutdown. Now, some things I want to keep in mind is that today is Friday, and this is the second Friday of the month, which means it's payday for most government working employees. And this will be the last paycheck for roughly 70,000 workers until the government, no, not the government, until the Democrats decide to reopen the government. Republicans are waiting. There is one Republican who has said no. It's all on the Democrat side right now. Yet again, we've talked about this. We've beaten this to a dead horse. Although I do think it is important to keep the message going, because if you were one of those 70,000 workers, I think you would want your voice to be heard by as many people as possible. So I'm speaking up for them, letting them know that it's not fair, it's not right, it's not just, it's not something that they would want to do. They voted again yesterday, and once again, the answer was no. I really don't know at this point. It really just seems like who's going to bend, who's going to break, and it's sad and it's depressing, and it's something that is just not called for, because the Democrats are making it a political thing. They really, really are, and the Republicans are simply just trying to not. Uh, uh, um, Fall to the pressure. It's kind of hard to tell what the Republicans are even trying to do, because it seems so silly to say this, but it feels like the Republicans want to go to work and the Democrats don't. And that seems to be what it is. Now, obviously, there's more to it, but I think the big, most important thing that I want people to understand about this, that I can't stress enough, is that, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me, please. The Democrats and all of the government are going to still get paid. That's why it's not a big thing to them. That's why it's not as urgent as it might seem. It's all about money to them. If they didn't get paid, I guarantee the government would still be open. If they lost their pay under government shutdowns, which should be the law, it should just be the law. If you don't go to work, you don't get paid. If your place of work closes, you don't get paid. The government is closed. They're not going to work. They should not get paid across the board. Democrats, Republicans, anyone who's not having to work right now. Speaking of people who aren't going to have to work, let's go all the way over to New York and let's talk about Letitia James, who is indicted on charges on I'm trying to find the exact word of it. What is it called there? Deception or something like that. What has happened is she had a second home and she declared that as her second home to the bank, and then she was renting that home out, which is something you cannot do. You have to declare it as a rental property. You have to declare it as a property that is used for rent, not your second residence. Now, she is being someone who is being indicted, and she's going to be charged and sued and whatever. But I just want to bring up something where, when we talk about the government not shutting down, we talk about how government and politics is strictly driven by money. That's all it is. Very rarely are there going to be people who get up to that level and then don't want to do it simply for money. Because Miss James's salary has been $220,000, yet she still felt the need to lie about her money and to lie about how she was spending her property to make more money. These people are grossly persuaded by money. I mean, 99% of the world is grossly persuaded by money. That's all anybody really is persuaded by nowadays, and it's hard to judge, because you think it's so easy for you to say, I want to do that. Well, what if you were in that situation? So I don't know. She's claiming that this is just a hit attack on her because of Donald Trump. I mean, if you broke the law, you broke the law. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is. Whether it's a hit piece or not, whether there's people who get swept under the rug or not. If you break the law, you break the law. It's as simple as that. But now we need to talk about our biggest story of the day. And I think the biggest story of the week that I was kind of waiting to talk about. We have peace in the Middle East, hopefully. After 2 years since the horrendous October 7th attack, Israel and Gaza have decided that, or Hamas has agreed to part one of the ceasefire. And I think today Israel is taking some of their troops out of Gaza. Now, there were some things that I wanted to look up about this because it really was sad and a tragedy. And the thing is that there's nobody who, like, the Palestine people are not satisfied. Okay. I'm not going to really make a stand on individuals who I support because I think that's what really comes down to people are sort of just upset about the person you support. What I think is important to say is that Israel, this war, Israel did not fire the first attack. Israel did not attack them first. They were attacked first. Now, there have been a lot of civilian casualties. Records indicate report that roughly 11% of the Gaza population have been killed or injured. And that's a lot of people. I mean, imagine 11% of America were all of a sudden killed or injured. That's a lot. And it's tragic. And I feel bad for it. However, the Palestine people and people who are in other parts of the world who are not affected, who do not care, who do not have a say other than what they can say behind a computer screen or behind a phone are not satisfied. Oh, it's about time they finally agreed to it. Why was stopping them? This part was not on Israel at all. Hamas never, as far as I understand, never gave a realistic approach to ceasefire. Right? It took Donald Trump and Israel's prime minister and several of the other countries around them to essentially leverage the, like, hey, look, this is the best it's going to get. And Hamas, even then, they took a couple of days. And so they finally agreed to the first phase of it. I'm not sure what the second phase will entail. I do know that the big caveat of this is that Hamas does not want to destroy their manufacturer of weapons and firearms and things like that, which to a degree I can understand because you want to sort of always be able to defend yourself. That's sort of like the right to bear arms in this country of America, right? Like you kind of need that to defend yourself of, worst case scenarios if the government comes knocking and attacking or if we get invaded type of a thing. So I sort of get that. But again, Hamas was the first ones to attack. And so I don't think you're going to have much leverage or much availability to sort of be like, if you want to live, you're going to have to do what they say. And it's a tragic tale, unfortunately. Both sides lost good people. Both sides lost people. I don't think there's a right and a wrong side in a situation like this. I think it's tragic, but I think it's very important to not be blind to the fact of who threw the first punch, who did the first thing. You threw the first punch, you got knocked on your butt and cowered away. What do your parents say? Well, you threw the first punch. You get into a fight, you lose the fight, you run away. Well, you started it. This was not started by Israel, this attack, this war, the last 2 years. It was not started by Israel, but Israel, Donald Trump, America, surrounding countries, Hamas came to their senses and agreed on the ceasefire. So I think that is something that's really important. That's something that should be celebrated. And I think if you're someone who is anti-Israel and you're someone who is very pro-Palestine, I think it's important that you understand that if Hamas did not agree to this, the war was going to get worse for you. The war was going to get worse for Gaza and Palestine and Hamas and everyone on that side. It was going to get a lot worse. And so be happy that the loss of civilians should be slowing down over there. Be happy that after 2 long, grueling years of just turmoil, that it seems to be on the up and up. And I hope both sides are true to it. I think we can all learn a bit from this, and I think we can all perhaps be a little bit more gracious in our our own worlds and our own country, and us on the western side of the world, in North America. I mean, you really, there's political sides of things, and there's injustice done in this country, and there are good people and bad people in this country, but we're not at war. Anyone who is really, I don't even know when the last time war happened around us here. Maybe September 11th was the last time that an outsider came and attacked us, and then we went to war with them for 20 years. Uh, so be grateful for that. Um, Guys, it's the weekend now. It's coming up on the weekend. I hope you guys do something for someone this weekend. Hope you guys go to church. I hope you guys get a little bit closer to God and Jesus this week. I hope you guys have a little bit more time to spend with loved ones, and I hope you really kind of reach yourself out there and do something for someone else this weekend. Thank you guys so much for watching these week videos. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know what you guys think of all the videos we've talked about, and I'll see you all next week.